Almost a year ago, former Manchester United boss Stoney moved away from the WSL and she joined the newly formed San Diego Wave. What a 12 months she's had. Not only did she take the team to the playoffs, she also was voted as the NWSL Coach of the Year. David Stow went to catch up with her.
What's it like starting a football team? You know, you've done it at United, going out to the States and recruiting and getting a new team on the map, if you like. What's it like in the human sense?
I think starting a team is an exceptional opportunity. It's a blank canvas that you don't hardly ever get, and I've been really lucky to have it twice, but it comes with a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety and a lot of hard work, because building a team doesn't come easy. You have to make sure that you know the players that you want to recruit. Also, there's big differences between how you recruit in England and how you recruit in the NWSL. You know, you've got college drafts, you've got expansion drafts, a hell of a lot more to navigate. I had to learn a lot about the rules, a lot about what I could and couldn't do, and make sure that I towed the line in terms of that, and identify the types of players that I felt would play to my philosophy, the way I wanted to play, but also a philosophy that would work within the NWSL, because I'm not naive. I can't think that the brand of football that I played in England would be the suitable brand of football that I wanted to play in America, so I had to learn quick about that.
You've also talked previously about the sort of American mentality, if you like, the way that they are driven to succeed. Is that something that you sort of picked up on at Man United with Kristen and with Tobin when you had them, but also since moving out to San Diego?
Yeah, definitely. I think having Tobin and Kristen was a huge advantage for me actually going out to San Diego, because I learned a lot from those two players, their mentality. They're unbelievable competitors. They don't play for anything other than winning. And they changed the conversation in the dressing room, and conversations I had with them, I learnt an awful lot, and I thought that gave me the edge.
I suppose there are many challenges as a coach, and particularly recently with the report being published into the alleged historical abuse over in the States. How did you sort of react to that?
Well, obviously before I even got there, there was quite a few head coaches losing their jobs for various different reasons around emotional abuse, and obviously there's been sexual abuse now raised as well, and I was horrified, but I was absolutely adamant that I was going to go over and give these players a different experience. And I've heard some of the players' experiences, and I had to spend a long time just earning their trust. And that's about your behaviours and your actions every single day and living them. And when you do get it wrong, admitting you get it wrong and asking the player how you could have done it differently, because some of these players have had the most horrific, you know, experiences within the game that they should never have faced just to play the game that they love. I never want to be one of those coaches, and that's why I empower my players, that's why I listen to my players, that's why vulnerability is important, so they can speak out and speak up. And I think it's important you create a safe space for players to be able to come and thrive. They're just going to work to do their job, and it's a job they love, and some of them lived in fear for many years, and that should never happen.
It's great to talk to you as a former player, as a coach, but also as a mum. You've got a boy and two girls, and it's very exciting to sit here and think that there's potentially a future, if they want it, for all of them. Now
I'm a mum, it means more. It meant more. It meant so much to me as a player to leave the shirt in a better place, but I think as a mum now it means more, because what those girls did in the summer, they changed the game forever for my little girls and my little boy, because my little boy is now out in the garden saying "Russo" when he backheels it into the goal, you know, and that changes the conversation, it changes the narrative, it changes the sponsors thinking about putting money into the game, it changes the club's attitudes towards the women's teams. And I'm just so incredibly proud that, you know, maybe I had a tiny footprint on the way. I'm really proud of the role that all of the players before me played, the players of my generation played, to be able to give the players of this generation the platform to go and do that, and what an incredible job they did. And they have changed the game forever, they really have. And you look at the audiences, the fan base, the money coming into the game now, it's a world away from when I was little, when I was basically told I shouldn't be playing because I was a girl.
What's interesting as well, I suppose, is to see how people are giving credit to you guys who went before this particular Lionesses team, if you like. It does feel like a sort of family effort to get to that trophy.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, even watching their interviews, like the fact that they referenced players before them, like gave me just a huge sense of pride that you know, those players remembered what had gone before, and those players knew it was important what had gone before, and I knew what was important had gone before me, and the next generation after them will be as important to keep the game growing. The game's changed so much. There's so many opportunities in different ways within football, whether they want to officiate, play, they want to go in and do commentary, punditry. See how many women now are on the TV doing punditry. It's incredible. Whether they want to go into marketing and sponsorship. Like, the game's changing for everyone, which is great.
So how do we keep it moving forward? How do we keep the momentum?
I think the important part is about success on the pitch. It's about making sure that it has a place and a time, that everybody knows where that game is being played, it's marketed well, there's no clashes with the men's game, that they keep the price in at an affordable price, especially in the current climate as it is, and we keep making these women household names, so everybody knows who they are and they know where the local team is and they can go and watch them play.
And of course, now Manchester United are part of the WSL conversation, the title conversation for some. You brought the team up. How do you see the picture now?
I think their squad depth is the best it's ever been. I'm really proud of where they're at. You know, they've got an incredible group of players. The bulk of players there are still the players that, you know, signed and played for me. When I'm watching United, I feel a bit more like a proud mum, because I know the players so well, and I feel like, you know, I've hopefully had an imprint on what they're doing now. Really proud of how the club's taken it on, but also really proud of the league and how it's growing. It's attracting some of the best players in the world, you know, and there's so many big games now within the league, and I think this title race will go right down to the wire.
Oh, great to hear from Casey Stoney there. I hope we heard Casey Stoney talking about her time in WSL and also in the NWSL. She's been so successful as a manager. Did you see those characteristics in her when you were coaching her as a player?
To be honest, I did. I mean, I quite often got some of the players to do a bit of coaching, a bit of leadership, and she was one of them. Very determined, very intelligent, football savvy. I must say, didn't play a minute of the 2005 Euros, didn't complain, got on with it, very professional. Didn't complain, well, not to me anyway. But very, very astute, clever girl. So really, really pleased to see her doing so well. Did really well at Man United and now doing well in the States, so doing really well.
Yeah, when it comes to footballing CVs, there's not much that she hasn't done, Flo. I mean, for club and country, 130 caps. She's won silver and bronze medals with England at international level, all the domestic honours you could ever want to win. But she's proving as a manager that she is a leader, and that her time at Manchester United and how successful that wasn't just a fluke, because she's doing it again out in America with the NWSL team, San Diego Wave.
Yeah, and she references it there as well how different and difficult it is, because the English system is quite a traditional, you know, football culture, the way that the transfer works, the way that the recruitment works, you know, it's very easy for her. But in the NWSL, she says it's so different. You've got the expansion draft, you've got the draft from out of college as well, and also because of the way the contracts work there, it's all very different. So it takes a lot of adapting to, and then you've got all the admin of visas and things like that, which you've got to think about. So it's a huge step, and the fact that she's done so well in a short space of time is really impressive.
Think about all that, and the fact that she's moved to another country, different culture, you know, other side of the world almost. And I wonder, though, Hope, could she be tempted back to the WSL if the right job came along?
I think so. I think Casey will be back at some point. I think it will be on her terms, I'm sure, doing really well out there. I think, you know, she's proven that she can do it here and abroad. And I think it will be just a matter of time before she's back. But as long as it's the right fit for her and her family, and a club with ambition, I see her back in the WSL.
It'd be good to have her back, wouldn't it? As a young English manager that's obviously very good at what they do, you'd like to see Casey in the WSL again at some point, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's important. I mean, we've seen lots of English coaches go over to the NWSL or, you know, the previous incarnations of that league. Matt Beard, Emma Hayes, Laura Harvey's still there, Freya Coombs still there. So it's been an important place for English coaches to go. But when I think you also think about succession planning for if Serena Wigman were to leave at some point, I think it's important. I'm not going to say it, but you know, I think it's important that you think about, right, who are the coaches, where are they, and being back in the WSL would also be a massive plus for Stoney's potential credentials at some point to maybe become England manager. So I think it's massive, and I think so many clubs would love to have her. She's clearly a very good coach.